That's right, it's our top story tonight. India has got a new landmark, but what should have been a celebration of Sardar Patel's greatness has become a full-blown political war. The decision of the Narendra Modi government to inaugurate the world's largest statue, the Statue of Unity in Gujarat, has meant that the BJP and Congress are fighting over the legacy of a man who ironically had united India. It's our top story tonight.
A statue 182 meters tall, the world's highest. A tribute to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, widely hailed as the Bismarck of India and the Iron Man for having unified over 500 princely kingdoms as India. Built at a cost of nearly 3,000 crore rupees in Gujarat's Kevadia, the statue was inaugurated on Wednesday by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, whose brainchild it was.
To understand the magnitude of the tallest statue in the world, one actually has to stand at the feet of the statue of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. If you have a close look at the statue, it looks like this is carved out of a stone, and that is the greatness of this statue, which makes it look like one. This is made of bronze, as we know, and which has been crowdsourced from several places in the country.
The statue has a viewing gallery at a height of 153 meters, which gives a breathtaking view.
When the view is so spectacular, who will resist clicking a selfie? And that's what happens in this viewing gallery, because this is right at the top. The view from the top, which is spectacular. Inside the Statue of Unity, the spectators gallery, where 300 people can be accommodated. And just take a look outside. This is the entire expanse of the land that can be seen.
कई बार तो मैं हैरान रह जाता हूं जब देश में ही कुछ लोग हमारी इस मुहिम को राजनीति के चश्मे से देखने का दुस्साहस करते हैं.
Congress President Rahul Gandhi made a veiled attack at the Modi-led government, saying a statue has been constructed in Sardar's memory, but institutions built by Patel are being destroyed.
It is important for Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the BJP to remember that the true tribute to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel will be to absorb his message.
The BJP claimed the Congress never recognized Patel as a national icon, while the Congress accused the Saffron Party of trying to appropriate Patel's legacy for political gains.
अब इसमें भी कांग्रेस कोई राजनीति करे वो जस्ती नहीं.
सरदार पटेल कल भी कांग्रेसी थे, आज भी कांग्रेसी हैं. प्रधानमंत्री जी को ऐसे मौके पर राजनीति करना शोभा नहीं देता है.
Sardar Patel was known as the Great Unifier. It will be sad if a statue in his honor ends up being a divisive issue. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel is above politics. Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's raise some big questions tonight. Who can rightfully claim Sardar Patel's legacy? Is the Congress guilty of not having given Sardar Patel his due all these years? Should the Modi government have invited all chief ministers to the event, or was this about the Modi personality cult? Is the Statue of Unity being reduced to just political symbolism? Would Sardar approve of almost 3,000 crores statue being spent in his honor? Let's go first to our newsmaker, Shashi Tharoor, and our debate. And joining me now first is author and member of parliament, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, whose new book, of course, Paradoxical Prime Minister, looks at Prime Minister Modi. Mr. Tharoor, one of the paradoxes of Mr. Modi was perhaps seen today. The strong man perhaps needed to appropriate the Iron Man. The images of Mr. Modi with Sardar Patel, how do you see that?
Well, I must say it's a bit troubling. On the one hand, honoring Sardar Patel is a great thing, and I'm very glad the country has done it, though I'm not sure that he himself would have found this gigantic outsized statue the most appropriate way of honoring him. But the appropriation of Sardar Patel's legacy by this government, and particularly this Prime Minister, is troubling at various levels. I'm drawn particularly to think about, not just the question of India's unity, which indeed Sardar Patel built and which sadly is being threatened by a divisive government, but even more so by the fact that when you look at concrete examples from the lives of Sardar Patel and those who would appropriate his legacy, you really see no parallel. I'll just give you one example. Sardar Patel also had to deal with serious communal rioting and violence in 1947, just as Narendra Modi had to deal with it in 2002. In 1947, what did Sardar Patel do? He took swift and immediate action to rescue Muslims who were being attacked. He moved thousands of them into the security of the Red Fort so they could be protected better. Because he was worried about the neutrality of the local police and law enforcement authorities, he called for troops from Pune and Madras because he felt they'd be less swayed by the passions of the moment in Delhi. And he personally made it a point as Home Minister of India to go to Nizamuddin and offer prayers as a way of signaling that Islam had continued to have an honored place in Indian society. He also went to Amritsar and managed to persuade angry Hindu and Sikh mobs not to massacre departing Muslims on the trains who were crossing over into Pakistan. What a set of examples Patel set. And do we find any equivalence for that in 2002? Even if we accept everything that is said in defense of the Chief Minister of Gujarat at that time, did we see him take any extraordinary measures to reassure the Muslim population, to bring security to the Muslim population, to go and offer symbolic visit to a mosque or a masjid in order to show, as Patel did with the Nizamuddin Dargah? I'm sorry, there is simply no parallel between the conduct of one individual when faced with communal violence and another individual when faced with communal violence. How can one appropriate the legacy of the other when their stories are so completely dissimilar?
But the reason why, in a sense, this appropriation is being, in a sense, justified by the BJP is because they claim constantly that the Congress built memorials to the Nehru-Gandhi family. The Congress had programs in the name of the Nehru-Gandhi family. The BJP is, in a sense, honoring a Congress giant that you forgot. That's the line, that's the narrative. So while you now claim that the legacy of Mr. Patel is very different to that of Mr. Modi, the BJP says we are filling a gap in history.
Well, listen, gaps are all very well to fill, and I'm very pleased that Sardar Patel is being honored, though, as I said, I doubt that he would have been I think he would have been taken aback by such an outsized statue. And you realize what a simple man he was, how much he valued his own ascetic life and his own simplicity of being. The way in which, as you know, he began his career as a satyagrahi, working and walking among peasants, encouraging them not to pay iniquitous British taxes. He was a man of the organization, a man of the masses. This statue, I think, would frankly have embarrassed him. But if at all the government feels that there are too many statues to the Nehru-Gandhi dynasty and so on, why not Mahatma Gandhi? If you want an iconic figure the whole world recognizes, to have the largest statue in the world, surely Sardar Patel himself would have said, I am the disciple, go to the Mahatma and let me have a statue of him that we can all look at. So, all the statue politics is something which the BJP is in a better position to explain than you and I watching from outside.
But I read a piece of yours in February when Mr. Modi in Parliament had attacked Jawaharlal Nehru on partition, on Kashmir, saying he was responsible for both, and contrasted him with Patel, who was unifying the country. And therefore the argument would go, the Congress party honored Nehru while he was living with the Bharat Ratna. It took 41 years to honor Patel. He got it only in 1991, died in 1950. These are all facts also. So there is a counter narrative today also, Shashi Tharoor, to this entire argument.
But of course, Rajdeep, no one claims, me least of all, as a writer of history and a writer of popular fiction, I hope, I would not claim only one narrative. All my books testify to the existence of multiple narratives, especially my fiction. But my answer to you here would be that the problem was that Sardar Patel died in 1950. Nehruji got his Bharat Ratna in 1955. And the fact is that Sardar Patel, at that point, had already passed away, and they were not issuing posthumous Bharat Ratnas. It was only much later that the rules were accommodated to permit the posthumous awards. And Sardar Patel was indeed amongst the first. I think it was Narasimha Rao's government, if I remember
That's right,
rightly, that gave
1991.
it to him. So when it became possible to give a posthumous award, exactly, when it became possible to give a posthumous award, they gave it to him. The Congress party has always had great respect for Sardar Patel. It is simply a historical tragedy that he only lived for 3 years after independence, and those who lived much longer naturally had a chance to make a much bigger contribution, a much longer lasting contribution in some ways in terms of things that were memorialized. But we remember Patel, Sardar Patel, by his institutions also, Rajdeep. We remember because it's thanks to him that we have the IAS. It's thanks to him that modern Indian policing has the shape it has. It's thanks to him that the entire steel frame of the Indian government was maintained. And you know, it's time to recall institutions on a day in which the brazen assault on the nation's institutions is continuing by the BJP government with today's unprecedented attack on the Reserve Bank of India. You know, all the institutions that those founding fathers sought to put on a firm footing for 70 years, starting with the unity of the country that Sardar Patel so effectively wrote about, is now being hollowed out by assaults on one institution after another by the BJP.
Let me ask you one final question then. What does all this tell us about, according to you, as someone who's written a book now on Narendra Modi, about the Modi persona? The idea of building a larger-than-life image for himself is part, many say in your book also, of the Modi persona. Someone who's told the country once that I have a 56-inch chest. Is this all part of it? 182-foot statue, everything larger than life when it comes to the Modi persona? A quick answer.
That's right. I think it's as larger than life than the 56-inch chest is, especially when one looks at the actual concrete results in terms of policy. No, let's be very honest about this. Mr. Modi has a certain outsized view of himself, of his own role, and has built up assiduously a personality cult that has led to talk of Moditva, which I have mentioned in my book, which is a combination of Hindutva and Modi. That is the personality of Mr. Modi larger than life. And pretty much everything that he wants to be associated with has to be the largest, the tallest, the biggest, the loudest. And frankly, this statue fits into that. It's certainly not for most Indians, I think, an aspiration they would have thought to. Most Indians would rather have seen 3,000 crores being spent on things that would actually improve the lives of our most unfortunate. But fair enough, we now have a statue. I am a great admirer of Sardar Patel's. I've written about him in my books and essays. I hope lots of people go and visit, and I hope at least it brings in tourist revenue into the country. But the person who built it and the motives for which it was built, to my mind, remain deeply suspect.
Okay, let me leave it at that. Shashi Tharoor has set off our debate. I appreciate your joining us. His recent book, of course, The Paradoxical Prime Minister, on Narendra Modi. Thank you very much. Dr. Tharoor joining me there from Thiruvananthapuram. Let's widen this debate, because in our studios now, I'm joined by Dr. Sambit Patra, the BJP's ever-smiling spokesperson, Mridula Mukherjee, leading historian, and also joined by Priyanka Chaturvedi of the Congress. But Sambit Patra, you get the first shot because we heard from Shashi Tharoor. His argument, the motives are suspect. You saw what he said. The legacy of Patel has nothing to do with the legacy, according to him, of what the BJP represents. This is purely appropriating the legacy of Patel, who was a unifier. He says Modi and his party are dividers.
See, as far as he's saying that it's a legacy of the Congress party and we have appropriated a great personality, what is the problem with him then? Let's celebrate it together. You also celebrate Sardar Patel. That's what we are doing.
But then why is no congressman invited? No congressman, no other political party leader was even invited to today's inauguration. The only person whose image we saw was Mr. Modi, not even a BJP chief minister there.
Rajdeep, if Mr. Rahul Gandhi really wants to offer his prayers to Sardar Patel, he can go and offer his prayers at the place which was inaugurated.
No, why didn't you invite the Congress?
Why should I invite Rahul Gandhi? Why should he be invited?
Sardar Patel was a Congress leader for 30 years from Gujarat, and no Gujarat Congress leader or National Congress leader invited. Because you said you want to unite people.
Rajdeep,
is this unity?
Rajdeep, you can ask all your questions.
Please go ahead.
First and foremost, why should we invite anyone from the Gandhi family for Sardar Patel's unveilation of the statue? Because for all these years, the Gandhi family thought that they were the only family which almost owned this country, and this country was the property. Two things that I wanted to say to Mr. Shashi Tharoor because I was hearing him. The first thing that he said that Sardar Patel would not have loved this statue, would not have liked this idea because he was a simple person. He had a humble background. So why a statue for him? My question is why? Is it an acceptance of the fact that Mr. Nehru was he question mark flamboyant that we have statues of Mr. Nehru and we cannot have statue of Mr. Patel because he came from a simplistic background? And second thing that he said that Sardar Patel his contribution was quite less compared to great stalwarts like Mr. Nehru because he lived only for a short span of time.
No, he didn't say that. He said in the context of the Bharat Ratna post-independence. But the bigger question, the two legacies.
Let me complete this. He said, I can verbatim repeat what he said because I wrote it down. He said that Mr. Patel lived for 3 years post-independence compared to Mr. Nehru and others who lived for a longer span of time. So their contribution probably were gigantic compared to Mr. Patel.
In post-independence India.
I would say otherwise. I would say in a shorter span of time what Mr. Patel did was far bigger in achievement than what Mr. Nehru could have done. Thirdly and very importantly, as far as the statue is concerned, why? He said that you should have built a Mahatma Gandhi statue. Well, yes, I agree. A Mahatma Gandhi statue is something which we all revere to. Why? Why such amount of hatred for a Sardar Patel statue? This is the question that I want to ask every congressman.
I don't know whether you showed hatred, but Priyanka Chaturvedi, respond to what Sambit Patra is suggesting here, that why is the Congress party so troubled by the idea of a Sardar Patel statue when you have so many Nehru, Gandhi statues, dare I say Ambedkar statues in the country? Why not give Mr. Patel his due if Narendra Modi wants to do so? Good for him.
No. So firstly, Mr. Sardesai, let me clarify. We have absolutely no problem with Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's statue. The problem lies in the mindset of the Bharatiya Janata Party. The problem lies with the divisive agenda of the Bharatiya Janata Party. The problem lies with the entire promise that the RSS had made to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel by lifting the ban on RSS when they committed that they would not involve themselves in any political association in the country or any political party. They would continue to function as a cultural organization. The problem lies with the hypocrisy of the Bharatiya Janata Party when they believe that they can appropriate tall leaders of the Congress party, tall leaders of India, and try and gain political mileage out of it. The problem is with the entire mindset of the Bharatiya Janata Party when they refuse to acknowledge the fact that Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel is as much loved as all other Congress leaders who contributed in the independence movement of India.
So you want...
While they have no such leaders who they can appropriate, feel proud of or glorify with a statue as tall as that. And all I can say here is that this tall statue of Shri Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel will continue to be a reminder to this country how the idea of united India will always stand tall. And all the divisive agenda will continue to be thwarted and defeated.
Let Sambit now respond.
Will also be a reminder how the Iron Man of India got the Bharatiya Janata Party's mothership, RSS, to apologize.
I don't want to really shout over Priyanka, but can I please come in?
One by one,
ban on the mindset of the Bharatiya Janata Party, which led to the first murder in India, independent India.
You made that point very quickly. Okay, very quickly, Sambit, before I bring in the historian, very quickly. Yes, you made your point, ma'am. Yes, go ahead.
Very important factual correction that the congressmen need to understand. Priyanka today said that the RSS had promised to Sardar Patel that we would be a cultural organization. We would not partake into politics. It was an unconditional lifting of ban, and this piece of paper, just a second, this piece of paper is nothing but, it is a Bombay Legislative Assembly proceeding 14th October 1949, and the question was by Mr. Lalubhai Makhanji Patel to the Honorable Home Minister.
Do you accept? See, we can dispute this history because I can turn around and say Sardar Patel was responsible for the banning of the RSS after the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi, yes or no?
Rajdeep, I'll answer every question, but you don't have to shout in the middle thing because it's a very important piece of evidence. The question was whether it is a fact that RSS ban has been lifted. If it was conditional, what was the condition? The reply is it was unconditional. So there was no condition. Number two, as far as the Congress party concerned, I have an RTI report over here. There are 450 schemes, buildings, airports, ports, etc., which are named after the Gandhi family. I turn my back, I see a road which is Indira Gandhi Road. I look forward, I see a building which is Rajiv Gandhi Hospital. I look to the left, there is something from the Nehru family. Look to the right, why? Okay. Why is it that everything has to be Gandhi?
Mridula Mukherjee, while the two politicians better now tell us as a historian. Is it right to say that Sardar Patel and Jawaharlal Nehru in a sense were contesting figures? Because there is a sense that in the rise of Patel and these statues also is a denigration of Nehru. Do you see that as is being suggested by some? Is it fair to see it in those terms?
No, firstly, I want to make the point as a historian that this entire, scenario that we are seeing with the Patel statue and other things, it goes completely against the spirit of the freedom struggle, and that really pains me, because the spirit of the freedom struggle was not about competing leaderships. If that had been the spirit of the freedom struggle, we'd never have got our freedom. And I want to explain this. We had people from the extreme left to the extreme right all working within the freedom struggle, from Bose to Nehru to Patel to Kripalani to Malviya.
But is it not true in the years that the Congress ruled the country? I take your point. The focus was only on one family or one individual. For the very reason you're saying there was an inclusive leadership that fought the freedom struggle. Yes, but how many people post-independence, among the others, whether it's a Bose or a Patel, were ever given the same space that perhaps the Nehru-Gandhi family got?
See, that was not the issue that I was talking about. And that is a separate issue. As far
but aren't they linked?
No, I don't think they're linked at all. I'm talking about the Congress pre-independence, and I'm talking about Patel. And you asked me the contention between Nehru and Patel when they were living, whether that was something that was real. My point is that there were people, not just Nehru and Patel had differences, there were people of completely diverse political views who functioned within the
I'm saying today, ma'am, today now when a Patel statue comes out, is there a sense that this statue is being put because he deserves his pride of place that he was denied by the Nehruvian legacy?
I'm sorry. That is the rationale which is given, but that is not the real reason why this is being done. Again,
what do you think is the real reason?
The real reason is projection of self by the current regime and the current Prime Minister. They are playing politics with history. They are not restoring the glory of Patel, because the spirit of Patel is not there anywhere in what they do.
So you're agreeing with what Shashi Tharoor said? When Shashi Tharoor said the legacy of Patel is very different to the legacy of Modi.
You can build any number of statues, the tallest of the tallest, but if the spirit of Patel is not there,
what is the spirit of Patel?
The spirit of Patel is secularism. The spirit of Patel is working for the peasants, for the poor. He abolished the Dubla system, which was the debt slavery system in Gujarat. 40,000 Dublas were freed by him. That to be, he's the Sardar of Bardoli. He's the Sardar of the women of Bardoli. Patel is not the strong man who would have brought about, change through his own. He was a disciple of the Mahatma. He was non-violent. He was secular.
Rajdeep,
where is that spirit today?
She's a historian.
Where is that spirit today?
Where is that spirit? She's saying you are building a statue of Sardar. No, ma'am, without imbibing the spirit. 1 minute, Priyanka. 1 minute, Priyanka ji.
I have heard. I'll tell you where
I'm only concerned about that.
Just a second.
Okay, you're not imbibing the spirit of Sardar.
Okay, I'll tell you.
You're building a statue without the spirit.
I'll tell you where the spirit is. All was fine in the Lutyens' zone. All was fine with the Distorians when the spirit was only of Nehru and Gandhi. As soon as the spirit of Vallabhbhai Patel appears, the Distorians as well as the Lutyens, they start jumping. I'm not naming anyone, ma'am. Please don't buy it for yourself or anyone. I respect you, ma'am. The issue is, why? None of you shouted that Mr. Nehru should also not have a statue because simplicity is the way we should live a life. All those who are shouting 3,000 crore should be funded for the Adivasis rather than building a tall statue. Why? Will they be up for selling the space that is occupied by the Gandhi family in the name of burial, in the name of crematory, at the prime location over here? Just a second.
Is this about Gandhi, Nehru versus Patel? I'll come back to it. Why can't we celebrate them all? Why can't we have a museum that celebrates them all?
Exactly.
Why is it that we can't do that in this country?
Now
why can't we do that?
Exactly. Who is not doing? For all these years you were celebrating only one family. Now we say let's celebrate him also. For all these years, when suddenly we want a small piece of, just a second, when suddenly we want a small piece of land in the Trimurti Bhavan so that we can have a museum for all the prime ministers, you shout, why?
Very quickly, you're a former director of the Nehru
just
Museum.
Imagine. Here. I have a piece of paper. You wanted evidence about Nehru. This is a book written by K.M. Munshi. What does K.M. Munshi say? Who was himself a minister of Mr. Nehru cabinet. He says that immediately after the death of Mr. Patel, Nehru gives out a letter to all his cabinet colleagues that don't go and attend the funeral of Mr. Patel. Is this the the way? Is this the way you
Ma'am,
love
very
and treat?
quickly, but you didn't answer her question. You haven't imbibed the spirit of Patel, the values of Patel. You saw what Tharoor said. Patel was there in the forefront of ending communal rights, not allowing communal rights to simmer.
We have imbibed the idea of Patel. We don't stand with the Tukre gang.
Very quickly.
We stand with
Can you let
unification
me
of
very
India.
quickly?
Yes,
We
now very-
don't stand
okay,
with
30
the
seconds,
A
please.
little
Yes.
chivalry at
Yes.
least.
Very quickly,
In
ma'am.
the Nehru Memorial Museum and Library, apart from the rooms
Yes.
which have been maintained as Nehru used them,
Yes.
and one room which tells the story of Nehru's life till the time that he joined the freedom struggle, the rest of about 20 rooms are on the history of the freedom struggle without one extra photograph of Jawaharlal Nehru.
Okay.
That's what the exhibition is in the Nehru Memorial Museum and
Okay, let me,
Library. You
Priyanka
can go and
Chaturvedi, you
see
want
it.
20 seconds, very quickly. 20 seconds only, ma'am.
They had 70 years, sir, by the way.
They had 70 years, I'm giving you now 20
And
seconds.
Rajdeep, I
Just a
also
minute.
have to leave the debate. All
Yes.
I'd like to say just two things.
Very quickly.
I'd like to say just two things. They can imbibe the idea of Patel only when they understand his idea and what he believed in. He believed in India, they believe
my
in a
God.
divided
Suddenly
India.
they've
That's
woken up
very
to Patel.
clear.
It is so
And
sweet
going by
and
the
cute to
actions
see
since
all this.
2014, it becomes all the more obvious. Now the second point is, I find this extremely difficult for people to understand. Why do they keep grudging the elected prime ministers of this nation who have served this nation and try to pit one against the other? They've all contributed
pitting
to
one against
India's
the other?
growth story.
Who-
They have
Ma'am,
been
ma'am,
equal
some-
partners.
no, no, no,
But
some-
I'm
okay, she's made the point.
that
She's-
they continue
PV
to
Narasimha
divide,
Rao's dead
divide
body was
India,
not allowed
divide
into
CBI,
the
divide
central hall of
RBI,
the
divide
Akbar
EC,
Road,
Central
Office of
Election.
Okay, let me ask you one last question.
And now they
Why
divide
not
India
build a
because
world-class
it's
hospital or a world-class school and name it after
opportunism.
Patel? What
And
is
I
the
would
reason
want
for
to
this
end with
statue in Gujarat with the Prime Minister, the sole person on the dais?
I'll tell you, Rajdeep.
I'm very surprised.
Today, if
I'm
you had
very
not done this,
surprised.
Rajdeep Sardesai at 9
You know,
p.m. would not have been debating
Rajdeep, I
Patel.
would be
It would have
happy
been
if
some
you
kind
would
of
ask
commentary on
this
Indira
question
Gandhi
of the
at
Bharatiya
this hour.
Janata Party spokesperson.
Thankfully,
One
because
minute,
of
Priyanka ji.
The airports in
because of
Gujarat
Narendra
after
Modi
Sardar
today,
Vallabhbhai
we
Patel.
all are
Why
talking
was the
about
Bharatiya
Patel.
Janata Party
We are
protesting?
reading Patel. We are discussing
Today,
Patel.
why was
We
the
are knowing
Patels
Patel.
out in the
Otherwise,
open,
it would have been the
disagreeing
same
with whatever
saga,
the BJP
the
was
same
talking
story
about?
as if Indira Gandhi,
And there was a
Nehru,
slogan
and Rajiv
during the
Gandhi were the
entire
only
Gujarat election
people
campaign.
who
Sardar
existed
ne
in India.
bhagaya Goro
None
ko,
other
hum
existed.
bhagayenge
Thankfully,
choro ko.
we are doing what we are doing
This was coming
today.
from the Patel community in Gujarat.
Oh my God,
Okay.
what she has done to
This is the
Patel
kind of
community.
respect
Okay,
that
let's
they
leave it
talk
there.
about
She's
when
talking
they
Let's
talk
leave
about
it there.
Sardar
Gentlemen,
Vallabhbhai Patel.
let's leave it
So
there.
please.
I appreciate your joining us. This is a contentious issue. At the end of the day, I think let's imbibe the spirit that Mridula Mukherjee spoke of. These are all great leaders. Patel, Nehru, Bose, Gandhi, Tilak, Gokhale. These are all the great leaders, and we have to ask ourselves, what's the best way to honor them?
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.